Tonight, under threat. Firefighters battle through the night to save Perth homes with a warning the danger isn't over. Mark McGowan blasts the New South Wales Deputy Premier over comments he's called un-Australian. Donald Trump's explosive plea to a state governor as he tries to hold on to power. The cost-cutting retail giant named Perth's cheapest petrol station. And see the moment a shark gets within metres of unsuspecting surfers at Scarborough.
This is 10 News First Perth with Narelda Jacobs.
Good evening. Crews have been stretched as they battled multiple blazes across Perth overnight. One prompted fears of toxic smoke as it burnt through a tip in the southern suburbs. And we're being warned the fire danger isn't over yet.
Thick smoke fills the air as a bushfire emergency unfolds at one of the state's biggest industrial areas. Overnight, the blaze in the town of Kwinana burned hot and fast. It tore through around 250 hectares of bushland and set the Kwinana rubbish tip alight. Fuelled by dry heat and fanned by easterly winds of up to 90 kilometres an hour, conditions for fire crews were dangerous and unpredictable.
Extreme wind gusts have made it extremely challenging for firefighters across the state in bringing these fires under control.
By this morning, the blaze was contained but still not controlled. Industrial Council Director Chris Orton now calling for more prescribed burns in the area.
This is the wake-up call I've been waiting for. This area is responsible for about $16 billion worth of economic activity for the state and for the direct and indirect employment of about 30,000 workers. So it's a very significant industrial area.
Locals say this is the closest a bushfire has ever come to this industrial area. The flames burning through this fence, coming within metres of a scrap metal facility. The Kwinana blaze just one of 3 bushfires stretching fire crews overnight. A second blaze sprang up in Gosnells, forcing 150 elderly residents to flee their retirement home. Many spent the night at an evacuation centre. Firefighters eventually used air support to dampen the flames, but 7 units of the complex were damaged.
One severely damaged and the other 6 are superficial damage.
In Rockingham, a third blaze sent residents into emergency mode, told to leave their homes before the fire was contained. Police believe this one was the work of a firebug.
Well, if that's true, the people who did it are appalling and the police will do their best to catch them. That sort of conduct is unacceptable and it will result in jail time.
And with dangerous conditions predicted for the coming days, we're being warned the worst may be yet to come.
The unique thing about this event is that we're expecting it to persist for at least the next 4 days with relentless gusty winds each and every night with dry conditions.
Whenever you come into a period of really hot weather coupled with extremely strong easterly winds, we're always going to be in for a world of hurt.
Claire Durl for 10 News First.
Mark McGowan has slammed New South Wales Deputy Premier as un-Australian over suggestions returning travellers should be sent to their home states. It comes as crowd numbers at this week's cricket test are slashed as Sydney struggles to contain the latest COVID outbreak.
A decision to limit crowds at the SCG has left thousands of cricket fans bowled over.
What we're trying to do in our public health strategy is making sure that you don't have a super spreading event.
Originally slated to go ahead with a crowd capacity of 50%, this week's test with India now capped at 25%. That's around 10,000 fans per day.
Like the NRL Grand Final, Origin or the Everest or other race days, the Big Bash, we can and we have shown that we can run events in this state in a safe way.
Not according to our Premier, who says it's too risky.
But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have had it. In the circumstances they're in, I don't think it sets the right example.
As Sydney-siders are hit with $200 fines for not wearing masks at shops, cinemas and churches, sparking anti-mask protests like this one at a major shopping centre.
Very disappointing what you see happening across New South Wales.
As tensions escalate between the two states over WA's hard border. The acting New South Wales Premier has also taken a swipe at WA, saying they are doing the heavy lifting when it comes to quarantining returning Australians from overseas. Sydney has taken 105,000 people since March, while Perth has only taken about a fifth of that. And now he wants to recoup some of the costs.
The Treasurer sent those states, I think, a bill for their share of the costs associated.
So that's obviously a pretty silly thing for them to try and do. If every state starts doing that, we'll be sending bills all over the place.
As New South Wales threatens to send interstate Aussies packing to free up their hotel quarantine.
Maybe what we should be doing is collecting them at the airport, ask where their final destination is and keep sending them on another connection.
That suggestion is silly, it's counterproductive, it's not acting as an Australian.
With every state looking out for themselves. Natalie Forrest for 10 News First.
A woman accused of breaching hotel quarantine and going on the run for 12 hours has pleaded not guilty. Jenny Du Bois was today granted bail from prison after a magistrate said she was no longer a threat to the community. Jess Brown has more.
Narelda, Jenny Du Bois has spent the last 10 days here at Bandiat Prison after escaping the Pan Pacific Hotel on Boxing Day. The 49-year-old was all smiles as she left the prison on bail a short time ago. She had nothing to say as she got into a waiting taxi. Ms Du Bois, who'd arrived from overseas, posted videos on social media making it clear security guards wouldn't stop her leaving hotel quarantine. She travelled across Perth for 12 hours before being arrested at Rockingham Hospital. Today she pleaded not guilty, with her lawyer indicating Ms Du Bois had a reasonable excuse to ignore the directions given she was seeking medical assistance. The police prosecutor, however, opposed bail, saying the breach could have been astronomical to the state, and Ms Du Bois had openly advocated on social media for people to breach COVID restrictions. But the magistrate said given her quarantine period has now expired, she's no longer a risk to the community. The Premier, though, angered by her actions, but assured hotel quarantine is secure.
I was outraged by her conduct. She was selfish, she was immature, she acted in her own interests, not in the interests of the West Australian community.
Ms Du Bois will have to adhere to strict bail conditions while awaiting her trial. She's due back in court in February. And Narelda police are reminding those arriving from Victoria in particular they must self-isolate for 14 days. It comes after officers served 3 more people with quarantine infringement notices.
Jess Brown there. Frustrated Victorians stranded in New South Wales are still waiting for details on when they'll be allowed home. More than 2,000 travellers missed the border deadline, but very few will be given an exemption to return.
Last year, they were locked down. Now they're locked out. Victorians stuck on the wrong side of the New South Wales border say they should have been given more time.
We would have had to drive through the night, which just would have put us at risk of an accident.
I mean, it was bad enough that the car had broken down, but then to be locked out of home it's just it kind of feels a bit surreal.
Even carefully planned trips avoiding COVID zones didn't help avoid the drama.
With no contact with anyone for 4 days, and then we're the ones that can't come back in.
The same laws that allow the government to restrict movement within Victoria also make it legal to refuse residents entry.
Someone could come over from the UK where there's 50,000 cases a day and be allowed to return with quarantine. But if you want to return from New South Wales where there is today 0 cases, you're not allowed. It's outrageous.
The Health Department has received 2,295 applications for border exemptions in the past few days, but only 175 have been processed. Priority is being given to essential workers, emergency situations and people who have applied for an exemption on compassionate grounds. But there's no word about when the rest of Victoria's stranded residents will be allowed to return.
So families wanting to make sure they're back for the start of school, we're having a look at that. But any decision based on anyone coming back from New South Wales will only be granted an exemption based on the health advice.
Estelle Lewis for 10 News First.
Political activist Lyle Shelton has forced a police investigation by suggesting in a tweet that he'd avoided border checkpoints in a run across the Queensland border.
Disappointing actually to see that tweet this morning, because straight away when you see something like that, you know you're going to have to put resources to it to look into that, and certainly we have.
Ultimately, the investigation found that Shelton had the right path to make the trip on foot. He's since apologised for wasting Queensland police resources. Donald Trump's efforts to cling to office have been exposed in a leaked phone conversation. In it, he can be heard applying pressure to one senior official, ordering him to find the votes needed to overturn the election result.
In an explosive telephone call, President Trump makes his intentions clear.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
During the hour-long conversation, Donald Trump attempts to pressure Georgia's Republican Secretary of State to recalculate the ballots in his favour.
That's a criminal offense. And you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you.
The votes in Georgia have already been recounted 4 times, including once by hand, but the president still raised previously discredited claims, only to be told they've been investigated and dismissed.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
The incoming vice president says all she hears is the voice of desperation.
And it was a bald-faced, bold abuse of power by the President of the United States.
While some in the media are calling it an attempted coup.
There are but 2 parties now, traitors and patriots.
With just 16 days to go until Joe Biden is sworn in, many Americans are fearful of just how far President Trump will go to try to cling on to power. Today there were calls for him to be impeached for a second time. All living former defence secretaries, including 2 appointed by the president, warned against Trump involving the military, which some see as a possible next step after Congress tries to certify the results on Wednesday. Vice President Mike Pence will preside over the hearing, and today he swore in new senators who plan to object to Joe Biden's win.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States?
A new House also took the oath.
The House will come to order.
With Nancy Pelosi narrowly elected as Speaker to a slim Democrat majority.
We begin this new Congress during a time of extraordinary difficulty.
Tomorrow, Trump will hold a rally in Georgia to campaign for the final 2 Senate seats up for grabs, with power in Washington hanging in the balance. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, Washington.
A house has been destroyed and another seriously damaged after a fire in Trigg overnight. As Bo Pearson reports, both households managed to escape without injury.
Narelda, as you can see, this home on Chrysostom Street has been destroyed by the blaze that started just after 1 this morning. The couple who live here were woken by a smoke alarm and managed to escape. Everything inside the house has been destroyed, cars in the driveway also impacted. The home was recently renovated, but now it has an estimated damage bill of $1 million. The fire spread to the home next door, where a family with 2 young children got out to safety. That property was damaged along the side of the building, the heat so strong it smashed the front windows. Firefighters battling the blaze had the extra challenge of dealing with the strong easterly winds, part of the roof still only just hanging on. Narelda, officers from the Fire Investigation Unit will continue to inspect the scene as they determine just what sparked this blaze.
Thanks, Bo. Costco shoppers were winners at the fuel pump last year. The brand's membership-based service station named the Metro's cheapest. While petrol prices aren't as low as they were at the height of the pandemic, Fuel Watch says there's still savings to be had.
2020, when Easter road trips were off the cards as Perth's average fuel price hit a 15-year low, the virus leading to a worldwide drop in demand.
Compared to 2019, there was about a 20 cent per litre difference in what consumers paid in 2020. So it was a good year to get a bargain.
And a new entrant became the metro area's cheapest place to fill up. Costco customers say they've saved big despite a $60 annual membership fee.
Yeah, I've paid for mine many times over.
Lots of savings actually, from the fuel, lots of savings.
Any day it's always lower.
It's always pretty much the cheapest, especially for diesel, which is what this car is.
It's really validation for what we're set out to try and achieve, which is provide the best value we can to our members through, in this case, fuel.
The membership-based service station has topped Fuel Watch's annual list of cheapest retailers, averaging 95.1 cents per litre for unleaded, almost 8 cents less than Gosnell's Liberty, which was the cheapest station in the metro area, open to the general public. In the east, Fast Fuel Forestfield had the lowest average price. North of the river, the winner, Vibe in North Perth, the suburb also home to the metro's most expensive retailer, Westco, with an average average of $1.29.
The analysis that we've done shows that you can save around $1,100 to $1,200 a year if you take advantage of shopping for fuel on the cheapest day at the cheapest location.
Which is why it pays to shop around. Cindy Lavrenchik for 10 News First.
It's time to get an early look at sport now with Steve Allen. And Steve, is the fourth test going ahead?
Well, they're keeping us guessing, NJ, but Nathan Lyon wants everyone to get on with the job and just play cricket. That as the tour touched down in Sydney today. Meanwhile, Marcus Stoinis goes bang the West Aussie with a big performance in the Big Bash. And should this very cheeky recovery be the butt of all jokes? We've got a split decision. That and plenty more coming up in sport.
Thanks, Steve. We'll see you again then. Still to come on 10 News First Perth. Close call. A shark comes within metres of surfers at Scarborough. And a Hollywood heavy hitter brings his burger chain to Perth.
The celebrities have been given a good old-fashioned Aussie welcome.
Oh, Struth.
They've been bitten, hissed at, thrown out, covered.
Here come the spiders, all right.
And creepy crawled.
Ash, you've got a spider on your head.
And it hasn't even been 24 hours.
We are just getting started.
Oh, let's go, Doctor!
We've already revealed some big names. And there's still more to come.
Your herd is about to grow by one.
A new celebrity will be revealed.
This place is kind of like a 5-star eco retreat, but just without the retreat or the 5 stars.
A new celebrity will be revealed on 10. It continues 7:30 tonight.
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, provides the cover you need for your property and rental income. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
As a first-time investor, Terry Shear provides the security I need.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
It's the final days of Anaconda's massive 20 to 50% off Boxing Day store-wide sale. Huge savings on camping gear, bikes, kayaks, fishing gear, clothing, footwear and more. Some exclusions apply. 20 to 50% off Boxing Day store-wide sale. Final days at Anaconda.
It's time to celebrate because WA Building Company is offering a $75,000 Kickstarter towards your first home with house and land packages from just $249 a week. WA Building Company, where magic happens.
Looking for a wild way to spend your summer nights? Perth Zoo is staying up late every Saturday this January. Grab your mates or that special someone and experience the zoo during twilight. Bring a picnic or grab a bite from one of the food trucks and see the animals like you've never seen them before. Make the most of these special summer hours. Get your tickets today at perthzoo.com.au.
Wisdom. It's not a trending word, it's an old word, but boy do we need some right now. While the smart are talking, the wise are listening. Asking questions, making connections, seeking truths, in the classrooms and beyond the books. Never settling for a life less than the one we were capable of. Wisdom is our shared journey. We have a planet in need of help, a world in need of collective leadership. The world needs wisdom. The world needs you.
Police officer Kelly Foster is being remembered as a loved and respected member of the force after she died while canyoning in the Blue Mountains. The 39-year-old was sucked into a whirlpool while trying to save a younger woman who'd got into trouble. Their bodies were recovered late yesterday.
Kelly's selfless action in attempting to rescue the 24-year-old woman shows the highest qualities that a police officer can possibly demonstrate.
Senior Constable Foster had successfully battled cancer before her most recent posting at Lithgow Police Station. The JobKeeper wage subsidy is entering its final stages from today with a $200 a fortnight cut to the payment. There's been no commitment from the government to keep it going beyond March, but the Social Services Minister isn't ruling it out yet.
The end of JobKeeper is in sight.
We are transitioning away from the emergency supports that JobKeeper was.
A final slash to the historic payment is coming into effect from today. Full-time employees will go from $1,200 a fortnight to $1,000 before the tap is turned off at the end of March.
Today's cuts to JobKeeper are premature, will hurt workers, will hurt businesses, but will also hurt our economy.
Despite COVID-19 clusters emerging in New South Wales and Victoria, the federal government is confident.
We've seen, nearly 750,000 jobs have been created over the last 6 months. 85% of people who lost their job at the start of the pandemic or have had their hours cut to zero are back at work.
But if it doesn't keep going well...
And we'll continue to monitor the economy to make sure that the supports that we're providing Australians are appropriate.
Unemployment is tipped to hit 7.5% in the March quarter. New data has revealed the recent lockdown in Sydney's northern beaches cost the state's economy $3.2 billion. And with no end in sight to the stop-start border closures, there are now growing calls for a national border agreement. And while the federal government agrees, it's made it clear it won't be overstepping.
We also need to remember that the coalface health response that occurs around Australia is undertaken by the states and territories.
Scott Morrison has outsourced the national responsibility for our borders. We have a so-called national cabinet that won't be meeting for a month. That hasn't met for a month in the past.
National Cabinet isn't due to meet again until early February. Stella Todorovic for 10 News First.
Hollywood superstar Mark Wahlberg is bringing his burgers to Australia to fire new life into our independent cinema scene. It's hoped the multi-million-dollar deal with United Cinemas will bring jobs around the nation and new hope to a struggling industry.
He's the Hollywood heavyweight taking a big bite in Australia.
I'm so excited about the first Wahlburgers location in Sydney, Australia.
Mark Wahlberg has teamed up with independent chain United Cinemas, bringing his family's movie-themed restaurants down under.
It's all their favourite dishes when they were kids, when their mum was... So they're 9 children in their family.
Sloppy Joe is a combination of beef, special sauce, and you can't really give you the ingredients.
It's the biggest cinema double act since Movies and Popcorn, worth more than $50 million and 500 jobs.
We're social human beings. We're not meant to be at home watching, movies on demand. You're meant to be out and about supporting those Aussies that are serving you.
The first Wahlburgers will open in Sydney's Circular Quay within months, with 15 more to come, including Melbourne's Craigieburn, Brisbane's Indooroopilly and Perth's Rockingham.
I met with Mark not long ago. He's a beautiful person. We have so much in common. It was just unbelievable.
The Mustaka family is now fighting to safeguard what's known as the theatrical window, the first 3 months when new movies can only be shown at the cinemas. When Wonder Woman was released in the States, it went to the movies and to home box office on the same day. Other countries have legislated, like France and Turkey, to protect the theatrical window. 12,000 Aussie cinema jobs depend on it. Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
A pair of swimmers at Scarborough Beach have had a frighteningly close call with a shark and not even known it. This drone vision was filmed at sunset last night. It shows the ocean predator approaching an oblivious man and woman who were swimming within 30 metres of the shore. By the time authorities were alerted, the shark was gone. The beach had been temporarily closed several hours earlier when another shark was spotted in the area. Time now for an update on all the weather details with Charlotte Goodlett. And Charlotte, we saw those fires today and there's an emergency warning in place tonight.
There is, Narelda. A bushfire is burning near Lancelin. At this stage, the warning is in place between Brand Highway and Indian Ocean Drive, so it doesn't apply for the town itself. We've just been advised an evacuation centre is opening in the next few minutes at the Gilderton Country Club, but please do check the Emergency WA website for more details. Of course, it has been a hot day. The heat is being maintained by this this trough. The temperatures paired with gusty easterlies leading to that elevated fire danger along the coastal and central west and inland from that too. That included towns like Geraldton, which reached a top of 37 degrees today. Carnarvon hit 29, 36 was the top in Port Hedland, 28 the top in Kalgoorlie. Warm in Bunbury too, 32 degrees. 32 was also the maximum in Jandakot and Guildford. Mandurah and Bullsbrook got to 33. That's what the city hit as well, and it hasn't cooled down much. Right now it's 32. Narelda, the week ahead is looking even hotter. That's got fire authorities really worried. So I have tomorrow's warnings at 5 to 6.
Thanks, Charlotte. We'll see you again then. Up next on 10 News First Perth. Aussie arrested. A woman who helps ex-Muslims is taken into custody overseas. And the music world mourns one of Liverpool's greatest frontmen.
On the next Studio 10, life in the lockup. The women with the toughest job in the country tell all.
Kerry Mulligan goes bad.
I wanted to be a doctor my whole life.
Lately, I've been feeling like I might want to get back into it.
Plus, Chris Rock on his battle with addiction.
You have to tell the truth.
Tomorrow on Studio 10.
Did you know that loggerhead turtles produce tears to maintain just the right amount of salt in their bodies? See for yourself at Aqua.
Here at Amart Furniture, it's the last days of our Boxing Day sale, with up to 50% off a huge range of stylish pieces. You'd better get a move on. Amart Furniture. Sale ends tomorrow.
Get up to 50% off everything during Bedshed's Stocktake sale. Mattresses, bedroom suites, kids' furniture and more. All up to 50% off at Bedshed. That's why no one's better in the bedroom.
New Revitive Medic with OxyWave is amazing. It's the circulation booster that gets my leg muscles pumping, which could relieve aches and pains, swelling and now cramps. Get Revitive today.
Free home delivery at revitive.com.
The Karcher Window Vac. Simply spray, wipe and vacuum. The quick way to streak-free windows. Special black edition available at Bunnings Warehouse.
Core of my heart. My country. Land of the rainbow gold. For flood and fire and famine. She pays us back threefold. Over the thirsty paddocks. Watch. After many days, the filmy veil of greenness that thickens as we gaze.
In a world seeking equality, Curtin Research is helping to uncover and share the lessons from our past to aid reconciliation and drive positive change.
So if you're ready for change, join us.
Sure, to anyone else, this is just a car. But to the Johnsons, this is their adventure machine. The perfect companion to their 6-star hotel on wheels and their fishing Voyager. At RAC Insurance, we see what you see because we're local too. Get local insurance plus great member benefits. That's the power of membership. RAC Insurance. For the better.
Your dad wants me to download a playlist. Oh, no. Nah, it'll take ages.
Not on 5G.
So many things that I can't touch until I'm all out of faith.
You and me, Darren. This is how I feel.
Your iPhone 12 Pro deserves Australia's best 5G.
A new celebrity will be revealed.
Let's go!
Find out who, 7:30 tonight on 10.
After suffering through harsh Christmas lockdowns, life could be about to get even harder in Britain. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is expected to install tougher restrictions as the UK COVID crisis continues to worsen.
With a patchwork of mismatched rules and mixed messages, the only thing clear in Britain right now is the scale of the crisis.
Frankly, the government has failed to do.
Well,
the greatest respect, Andrew,
well,
the government has done everything we can.
But not many believe that.
It has all the hallmarks of delay and dither and poor decision-making.
Daily cases have hit more than 50,000 6 days running.
If you look at the number of inpatients, COVID patients in hospital beds in London, that has increased by over 45% over the last 8 days.
Today, the first doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine will be given in the UK, but patients face a 3-month delay getting their second dose needed for immunity.
We have suffered a shambles of vaccines being promised, cancelled, rearranged, first doses, second doses cancelled.
Even a former PM is ripping in.
We need to mobilise resources on a scale that we've never seen before in peacetime in this country.
It's not just the vaccine rollout that's botched. In pockets of England, people are free to go to the pub and hit the shops. Here in London and across large parts of England, people are already effectively living in lockdown, and the government is considering bringing in even more restrictions later today.
But I think it's a necessary evil.
If that's the way we've got to do it, then I'm kind of on board with that.
The people are suffering the desperation and the press.
The immense frustration and fatigue of lockdowns is being felt around the world. Hundreds of protesters rallied in Prague, raising a glass in protest to bars being shut.
They are desperate, and the government, they just don't want to see it.
In Germany, police were called in to stop rebellious skiers sneaking onto the slopes, while in Italy the Pope has expressed his sadness at rule breakers and surely praying for some divine intervention to help curb this crisis. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
Julian Assange will shortly find out whether he'll be extradited to the US. The WikiLeaks founder remains in custody in London, facing charges relating to a dump of classified documents a decade ago. A judge is due to hand down her decision, with Assange's lawyer saying it will be a verdict on Britain's commitment to a free press. His supporters are calling on President Donald Trump to pardon him in a bid to spare him from a potential sentence of 175 years jail. An Australian advocate for women who've renounced their Islamic faith has been arrested and charged in Tanzania. Zara Kay was taken into custody a week ago and later charged over a satirical social media post critical of the country's president. The Monash University academic, who was born in Tanzania, is also believed to have been charged over using a SIM card not registered in her name. The Australian Department of Foreign Affairs is providing consular assistance. A family of 3 has been killed when their private plane crashed into a home in the US state of Michigan. It happened less than a kilometre from the airport where they were due to land. Authorities arrived to find the house engulfed in flames. It's still not known what went wrong. Amazingly, everyone inside the home survived the crash. There are still no signs of life as rescuers comb through rubble from a landslide in Norway. So far, 7 bodies have been recovered, with at least 3 more people still believed to be missing. These pictures from a drone show the devastating impact on the small village just outside the capital, Oslo. At least 1,000 people have been evacuated amid fears of more landslides. Behind the Beatles, Jerry and the Pacemakers were one of Liverpool's finest exports. But today, frontman Jerry Marsden is being mourned after he succumbed to illness aged 78. He most memorably gave voice to one of the greatest sporting anthems, You'll Never Walk Alone. It was famously adopted by Liverpool Football Club, who paid tribute online, saying Marsden will never walk alone. Still to come on 10 News First Perth. Ute crash. Police investigate after a driver loses control in Scarborough. And we speak to Kate Winslet about her historic new role.
Let's go! We've already revealed some big names, and there's still more to come.
Your herd is about to grow by 1.
Whoa! A new celebrity will be revealed. Find out who, 7:30 tonight on 10.
Broken down, eh, Keith? Oh dear.
Some insurers don't offer free roadside assist for a year, but Amy does with a new Amy Comprehensive Car Insurance policy. Does your insurer offer this? Amy does.
After 4 decades of world firsts, Mitsubishi brings you an Australian first. 10 years warranty with 10 years cap price servicing. Mitsubishi Diamond Advantage. Built and backed for the time of your life.
For tough cleaning jobs, try CLR. CLR easily dissolves built-up calcium, limescale and rust. Soak your shower head in CLR to get it running like new. For crystal clear shower screens, apply, wait 2 minutes, then wipe stains away. CLR is antibacterial, killing germs as it cleans kettles, dishwashers and washing machines. It's great for tough outside cleaning jobs like outdoor taps, bricks, PVC drain pipes, pool fences, driveways and barbecues. There's clean and then there's CLR Clean.
We can't show this irresistible item in this time slot. Scan to uncensor and shop now, pay in 4 with Klarna. It's okay to get excited about this. Download the Klarna app today.
To help keep WA one of the safest places in the world, it's now mandatory for some businesses to keep a contact register with customer details. The easiest way to do that is with Safe WA, a contact register app that customers can check in with on their phone. If your business has to keep a contact register, Safe WA is free, secure and hygienic. It's good for your business and easy for your customers. Download Safe WA and help keep WA safe. Authorised by the State Government, Perth.
Tried Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Big Jack? Then meet the new Chicken Big Jack with 2 crispy chicken patties and special sauce. Big Jack beef or Big Jack chicken. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
This is Dinner, Australia's affordable meal kit from only $3.95 per serving. That's the same as an overpriced piccolo latte or less than a slice of avocado toast. Forget fine dining, we do simple, tasty dinners. It's just good food. Choose from 20 delicious dishes every week. You'll want to eat them all. No, seriously, you'll want to eat all of them. And it's all delivered to your door. Get $80 off your first 4 boxes. That's $20 off each box. Use code TV80 at dinnerly.com.au.
If you've been injured and can't work, your normal life and income can suddenly stop. Check if you have an insurance claim through your super online in minutes, so you can start again. With Slater and Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
For our generation, wisdom will not be found while dreaming of theories and leather-bound books. For us, wisdom is working together, working out problems, working in the real world, working for change. Try, fail, try again, knowing that someone has your back. Go beyond the books. Seek answers, seek change, seek inspiration. This is our world, our time.
What is the Cube?
Tonight's top stories. Crews have battled through the night to save homes from multiple bushfires across Perth. We're being warned the danger isn't over as hot weather this week increases the fire threat. A war of words has erupted between WA and New South Wales over who should pay to quarantine returning Aussie travellers. Here's as test crowds at the SCG are to be capped at 25% after Sydney's recent outbreak. And Costco's been named Perth's cheapest petrol outlet for 2020. The membership-based retailer only has one station based at the airport, but it beat other discount fuel outlets to claim the crown. A 29-year-old man is in a serious but stable condition after his ute slammed into a fence in Scarborough overnight. Police say the black Holden struck an island and a tree before ploughing into the fence on Brighton Road around 1 a.m. The front of the vehicle sustained significant damage. The driver had to be cut free. He suffered serious leg injuries and remains in the state trauma unit at RPH. His 34-year-old male passenger was uninjured. Witnesses say they heard the ute speeding before a loud bang. Police are investigating. Cyclone Imogen made landfall in far north Queensland overnight, bringing gale force winds and soaking rain. While the system has now weakened, experts say the threat is far from over.
Soaked but smiling. Swears Island in the Gulf of Carpentaria swamped as Tropical Cyclone Imogen closed in. The Category 1 system crossed the coast close to Corumba around 9 o'clock last night, dumping more than 250 millimetres of rain over Normanton. Wind gusts of up to 100 kilometres an hour uprooted trees and left hundreds of residents without power.
There's about 1,400 houses without power at the moment. Ergon briefed this morning to say that they have to get the helos in to have a look at where the damage is before they can, bring back the power.
The system, downgraded to a tropical low, is now tracking across the Cape, with a flood watch in place from Cooktown to Ayr. And while the clean-up is already underway, the threat is far from over.
Winds may have weakened, but the rain is going to continue ramping up in the coming days, with widespread heavy rainfall and likely flash flooding expected across much of far northern Queensland.
In Cairns today, signs of the wild weather arriving. Barron Falls in full force, and Earlville underwater. Emergency crews further south are on high alert. Townsville could be next to copper drenching, with the potential for falls of up to 400 millimetres over the next 72 hours.
We cannot stop the waters from rising. All we can do is go out and assist people.
Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
Oscar winner Kate Winslet is being tipped for a return to the podium thanks to her performance in the new movie Ammonite. The 45-year-old plays a scientist whose discoveries were downplayed in her lifetime because she was a woman.
She's been left out of the history books, but Mary Anning's fossil discoveries in the early 1800s are among some of the most important in paleontology. Now, with Kate Winslet in the lead role, her story is finally being told.
It was a sea lizard, 6 feet long.
Days it took to dig it out. It's in the British Museum. That one was special.
She lived in a world of men. She was a woman of scientific brilliance and made pioneering discoveries in the world of paleontology. But those men would buy her finds and claim them as their own discoveries.
But while the movie tells the true story of Mary's work, it also tells the imagined story of a forbidden romance between Mary and a young woman called Charlotte Murchison, played by Irish actress Saoirse Ronan.
Gay women that I've spoken to in particular, they've said that they've never seen an intimate and otherwise relationship like this before between two women. And so that's an incredibly important step to make in film and for our audiences.
The pair given free rein to choreograph the love scenes themselves. And you've spoken about how, in a way, you felt safer doing these than heterosexual love scenes that you've done in previous films. What did you mean by that?
It was a little bit of a revelation, I have to be honest, that sense of equality that I really felt filming these scenes with another female.
The actresses are tipped to appear in nominations for this year's Oscars, which have been delayed until April because of the pandemic.
I found with this year in particular, there's a lot of really incredible, provocative, female-led stories that are going to just blow everything else out of the water.
Ammonite opens in cinemas on the 14th of January. Angela Bishop for 10 News First.
Steve Allen's back with all the day's sport now. And Steve, a couple of moves made in the AFL.
It's not trade time, NJ, but Richmond have released a statement on Damien Hardwick's love life, while Rhys Shaw is making a return to the AFL. Plus reports of an unhappy camp as the Test Tour heads to Sydney, but where to from there? And Curry in a hurry. The NBA's sharpest shooter sets a new personal best.
See if our chat with comedian Eddie Perfect lives up to his name. That's next.
Let's go! We've already revealed some big names, and there's still more to come.
Your herd is about to grow by one.
A new celebrity will be revealed. Find out who, 7:30 tonight on 10.
With incredible drive-away plate clearance offers on selected Lexus SUVs, find your way at the Lexus Summer Event. On now.
Introducing Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jumpstart Plus combines the proven weight loss results of intermittent eating with Light and Easy's delicious summer menu, plus a new app to track your success and help you achieve your goals.
Every week I've consistently lost weight, and the new Jumpstart program really kick-started that for me.
Light and Easy made it pretty easy for me to lose it. I didn't have to think about it. The weight just kept dropping off.
Fast track your weight loss success in 2021 with Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jump online today.
Back to school is easy at the Athlete's Foot, with formal shoes from Ascent, Alpha, Rock, Harrison and Clark's, and sports shoes from Asics, Nike, New Balance and Saucony from $80. Back to school at the Athlete's Foot? Now that's fit.
Introducing new Gillette Skin Guard, a revolutionary technology to reduce pressure from your shave and reduce irritation on your face. Gillette Skin Guard, clinically proven for sensitive skin.
At Carpet Call, we've got new shipments of rugs to clear from our warehouses. Choose one of our latest design fashion rugs and take 50% off the ticketed price on our website. Jump onto carpetcall.com.au now for 50% off rugs.
Still can't believe just how amazing it is here. Dragon's Kingdom at Adventure World is a theme park within a theme park! Dragon's Kingdom at Adventure World has 10 rides and attractions for kids 3 to 8 years. It's a full day of fun. You'll be surprised. I know I was. Discover more at adventureworld.net.au.
Now this is a story all about how fast food got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how to dish your fries and eat fresh everywhere. Burgers and fries, we were born and raised with the dirty birds having their greasier ways. I took one huge bite of that foot-long bread and said, yo, skip the grease and eat fresh instead.
Eden Floriat by Edge Visionary Living represents tranquil lakeside living at its best. Surrounded by parklands, Eden's spacious apartments take in these beautiful views and enjoy a host of resort-style amenities. Live amongst nature at Eden.
On the next Studio 10, Kerry Mulligan goes bad.
I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. I might want to get back into it.
Tomorrow on Studio 10.
Good evening. Cricket Australia has denied tension with its Indian counterpart over tough quarantine rules. But there are reports the Indians don't want to play ball. It comes as Nathan Lyon calls for both teams to suck it up and get on with it.
Masked up and ready to be locked down, the Aussies left Melbourne today, ready for the tougher restrictions to come.
In my eyes, it's a very small sacrifice for us to get out there and play the game that we love and put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces around the world. So in my eyes, we just have to suck it up and get on with it.
It appears India isn't as on board. Another report today said the tourists were still unhappy with plans to confine them to the team hotel, except for training and playing.
We've had nothing formal from the BCCI to suggest anything other than they're supportive, and so I can't comment on speculation.
India's Chadstone bubble breaches have all tested negative and are free to play. Cricket Australia positive. That will be in Sydney and then Brisbane.
In regular dialogue with our colleagues at the BCCI, I think both teams have wanted to play the schedule as we've set out.
Amid speculation over the schedule and the batting order, the bowlers are the least of the Australians' worries. But Lyon says even the attack needs to mix things up, especially their plans for stand-in skipper Ajinkya Rahane.
A century that all of India can savour.
Rahane played me extremely well in Melbourne, so I know I've already come up with a couple of different plans for him and a few different guys. So I'm looking forward to putting them in place.
Lyon could finish the series with 100 tests and 400 wickets, but for the spinner, they aren't the stats that matter.
It's more about the series for me. Those milestones will be nice to look at the end of my career.
Tim Morgan for 10 News First.
West Aussie Marcus Stoinis has put on a Big Bash masterclass against the Hobart Hurricanes this afternoon, guiding his Melbourne Stars to a narrow victory. The big-hitting batsman finished the innings unbeaten on 97 runs, belting 14 boundaries, with 7 of them going over the ropes.
Stoinis gets it short again. He's going to bring up his 50 with a maximum.
No risks.
Or you just punch it straight down the ground with the power that Stoinis has. Short again. We've seen him do this throughout the afternoon. Marcus Stoinis back onto the hill, and again it goes down. What's happening there in Hobart?
The Hurricanes got close thanks to 91 from Ben McDermott, and they might have got the job done too had it not been for a spectacular catch from Andre Fletcher to dismiss Colin Ingram, the Spice Man doing his best to emulate Jason Roy. Big-hitting scorcher Colin Munro is confident yesterday's dominant win over the Melbourne Renegades is a sign of things to come. The Scorchers crushed the Renegades by a whopping 96 runs at Optus Stadium yesterday, led by some big hitting from their Kiwi import. And while he was pretty happy with himself, Munro had a crack at his teammate Jason Roy over his stunning catch.
Slash catch. Jason Roy! What a catch! We've seen some brilliance already in the field in this BBL. It has just been matched.
But he should have moved his feet. That's what we spoke about in the huddle. He should have moved his feet and probably taken it one step to his left, but instead he just left his feet in the toilet and fell over and caught it. So, no, I'm joking. Good catch.
The Scorchers have 3 more home games to come and plenty of work to do if they're to make the finals. Their next opponents are Josh Philippe and the informed Sixers, who are on top of the BBL ladder. The Magenta men bouncing back against the Strikers, who had a fit of the fumbles in the field despite a remarkable spell of 3 for 18 by spin whiz Rashid Khan. The Sixers cruised to victory.
Is that it? Yeah, it is. Sort of sums up the night for Adelaide Strikers.
The Sixers have touched down in Perth for Wednesday night's clash at Optus Stadium. While it has raised eyebrows, Damien Hardwick's new relationship with a Richmond club staffer won't see him out of a job. In a brief statement today, the Tigers confirmed that Hardwick is in a relationship with a member of the club's administration staff, and they have no concern with this under their policies. The 3-time premiership coach isn't due to return to the club until next month. Rhys Shaw will make a heartwarming return to the AFL. Just months after standing down as head coach of North Melbourne due to mental health issues, Shaw will move north to take up a role as head of development with Gold Coast.
Needed to be ready for it and needed to feel that he's had some time away from the game to be able to work out where his next role in football would be. We just needed some time to pass before we could commence those discussions. But he's in a really good spot and he's really looking forward to it.
The move will see Shaw and Stuart Dew reunite after spending time together as assistants at Sydney. Wildcat Bryce Cotton has drawn comparisons to NBA star Damian Lillard. This praise coming from a former NBL rival. One-time Sydney Kings import Jayshawn Tate is settling into his role with the Houston Rockets and was asked about the talent down under compared to one of the best scorers in the league.
There wasn't a Damian Lillard of Australia?
Bryce Cotton. He was close.
We'll hear from the Wildcats tomorrow. They're preparing to fly to Brisbane for a pair of pre-season games before the main campaign gets underway at home. Steph Curry has returned to his best with the Warriors, superstar scoring a career-high 62 points against the Trailblazers. Needless to say, he needed cooling down post-match.
Another 3. Got it! 62! 62!
Visually and...
Get him!
Russell Westbrook ignited his newest feud against Kevin Durant, leading Washington to a 1-point win over the Nets. Tommy Urich is back in Australia and back among the goals. The striker cooled off this morning after making a hot start to his Reds return, netting the opener in Adelaide's first home game for nearly 300 days.
There you go, cuts it back, and here's Urich! Brilliantly worked!
It's been a rough couple of years, so that one meant a lot. And especially coming back home now, as I said, home fans, first home game, first 3 points.
The Reds' 2-0 win over Melbourne City came at a cost, with Olyroos defender Ryan Strain to have scans on a sore groin. Pressure is mounting on Chelsea boss Frank Lampard after just one win in the Blues' last 6 games. The latest defeat coming...
A smashing City goal.
The 3-1 loss leaves Chelsea in 8th, despite spending nearly $400 million in the transfer window, while meanwhile Leicester City climbed into 3rd with a 2-1 win over Newcastle. To the NFL, and this play could have been a real bummer. Wayne Gorman with the fumble and an unorthodox recovery, but there was no need to split the points. The bum got it done to skewer the win, the Giants narrowly missing out on a wildcard berth. Meanwhile, they're painting the town brown in Cleveland.
He's got it. And it's over. For the first time in 18 years, the Cleveland Browns are going to the playoffs.
The Green Bay Packers are dancing their way into the playoffs too after securing the #1 seed in the NFC. Kiwi batsman Tom Latham would have felt sick to his stomach after Pakistan prevented this chance from going belly up.
Oh, Shan Masood shells it and Harris Hale picks it up. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Hail, hail, Harris Hale, who made the right gut call to lunge for the ball. His sharp catch claiming a clever dismissal, and our play of the day. There's a little bit more sport left after 6, believe it or not, NJ.
I look forward to seeing you again then. Thanks, Steve. Coming up next, though, Charlotte Goodlett has the weather details for you.
Leaked tapes of Donald Trump reveals a desperate president next.
Let's go! We've already revealed some big names, and there's still more to come.
Your herd is about to grow by one.
Whoa. A new celebrity will be revealed. Find out who, 7:30 tonight on 10.
If your mouth is made to amaze, let Philips Sonicare give its care a raise. If your teeth chew beyond their limit, they've earned 62,000 movements a minute. If your mouth's used to a manual clean, treat it to micro bubbles that feel great in between. If your amazing mouth does more than its share, give it Philips Sonicare. Next level clean, next level care. There's always a way to make life better. Philips.
It's the final days of Anaconda's massive 20 to 50% off Boxing Day store-wide sale. Huge savings on camping gear, bikes, kayaks, fishing gear, clothing, footwear and more. Some exclusions apply. 20 to 50% off Boxing Day store-wide sale. Final days at Anaconda. Anaconda!
Manula. Sometimes the long way is the best way.
Buy a new Subaru and get an Accor Hotels travel pack worth up to $1,200 of value. So when it's safe to do so, you can love the long way.
Be safe these holidays with Bob Jane T-Mart's great getaway deals. Buy 3, get 1 free. Goodyear and Dunlop passenger and performance tyres. Up to $100 instant cashback on a huge selection of top brand passenger, performance and SUV tyres. With Australia's largest range of tyres from just $59 and best tyre price guarantee, plus alloy wheels from only $109. At Bob Jane T-Mart's, we'll look after you.
When something goes wrong and you're injured at work or on the road, you need the right advice. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
I can't afford to be off work.
Shine Lawyers. Let's right wrong.
Introducing the new Jumpstart Plus. Light and Easy's Jumpstart weight loss program now comes with a bonus app to help you achieve your goals sooner.
Every week I've consistently lost weight and the new Jumpstart program really kick-started that for me.
Jump online today.
You can't always see who you're sharing the road with. That's why oversized vehicles have a pilot or traffic escort vehicle to keep everyone safe. So if you see one, slow down, move left, be prepared to stop, and follow any directions given. Make sure you know what to do when it's bigger than you. Search Bigger Than You for more information. Authorised by the State Government, Perth.
Good evening. It was a warm day in WA, and of course we saw the dangerous result of that near the city, those blazes burning very close to homes. And right now there's a bushfire at emergency level near Lancelin. The fire started near Red Gully on Brand Highway and is still moving quickly toward Indian Ocean Drive. Authorities advise it is now too late to leave for residents in Oceans Farms Estate. Residents now need to shelter in place. For others, an evacuation centre is open at Gilderton Country Club, but please visit the Emergency WA website for more details. Tomorrow, severe fire danger is forecast in similar areas today. These are the districts authorities are most concerned about. The reason for the hot temperatures is this trough. It keeps hanging around and keeping the hot temperatures hanging around, and there's also some gusty winds around it. Speaking of winds, what else really stands out on the map is ex-tropical cyclone Imogen, which had the honour of being the first cyclone of the season when she made landfall last night, crossing Queensland's Gulf Coast, where one area, Normanton, received 263 mils of rain in 24 hours. Imogen has now been downgraded to a tropical low, but is still causing heavy rain through the north of Queensland and is starting to track south. Also looking at some rain or storms throughout the Gascoyne, Pilbara and Kimberley tomorrow, pushing up into the Kimberley. No rain about in Brisbane, though. The Queensland capital looking at a mostly sunny day of 33 degrees. It will impact Cairns, though, 32 and storms. Sydney is also looking at another storm tomorrow. It got smashed late this afternoon, 17 mils of rain falling in 17 minutes in some suburbs. And as quick as it came, it was over 27, the expected top for tomorrow. 27 and some showers in storm for Canberra. A cool one on the way in Melbourne. Rain and 20 degrees. Showers in Hobart, 22. Mostly sunny and 24 in Adelaide. 33 the max in Darwin. Back in WA, warm again in the southwest. 34 degrees is the expected top in Bunbury. Hot in Geraldton too. 38 degrees and really gusty. That's one of the areas where fire danger is elevated. 34 in Carnarvon and storms potentially on the way for Port Hedland. 30 at the top, the same in Kununurra. Not a drop of rain on the radar for Perth though, and very warm. 35 seems to be the number to be. It will be windy in the morning, particularly in the eastern suburbs and the hills. Gusts of up to 80 kilometres an hour expected. 31 and also windy at Rottnest. And if you are making the most of the warm weather and heading out, it's looking a little bumpy on the waters, particularly early on. Seas at about 2 metres. Easing at midday. The winds, you're looking at east to southeasterlies of around 25 knots to start the day. The city itself is also hitting 35, warm overnight too, a minimum of 19 degrees, but as with the rest of the city, it will be windy. Narelda, the warm weather, it doesn't stop tomorrow. The week ahead is looking hot. I'll have those details a little later on.
Thanks, Charlotte. We'll see you again then. Back to our fires now, and crews have been stretched as they battled multiple blazes across Perth overnight. One prompted fears of toxic smoke as it burnt through a tip in the southern suburbs, and we're being warned the fire danger isn't over.
Thick smoke fills the air as a bushfire emergency unfolds at one of the state's biggest industrial areas. Overnight, the blaze in the town of Kwinana burned hot and fast. It tore through around 250 hectares of bushland and set the Kwinana rubbish tip alight. Fuelled by dry heat and fanned by easterly winds of up to 90 kilometres an hour, conditions for fire crews were dangerous and unpredictable.
Extreme wind gusts have made it extremely challenging for firefighters across the state in bringing these fires under control.
By this morning, the blaze was contained but still not controlled. Industrial Council Director Chris Orton now calling for more prescribed burns in the area.
This is the wake-up call I've been waiting for. This area is responsible for about $16 billion worth of economic activity for the state, and for the direct and indirect employment of about 30,000 workers. So it's a very significant industrial area.
Locals say this is the closest a bushfire has ever come to this industrial area. The flames burning through this fence, coming within metres of a scrap metal facility. The Kwinana blaze just one of 3 bushfires stretching fire crews overnight. A second blaze sprang up in Gosnells, forcing 150 elderly residents to flee their retirement home. Many spent the night at an evacuation centre. Firefighters eventually used air support to dampen the flames, but 7 units of the complex were damaged.
1 severely damaged and the other 6 are superficial damage.
In Rockingham, a third blaze sent residents into emergency mode, told to leave their homes before the fire was contained. Police believe this one was the work of a firebug.
Well, if that's true, the people who did it are appalling, and the police will do their best to catch them. That sort of conduct is unacceptable and it will result in jail time.
And with dangerous conditions predicted for the coming days, we're being warned the worst may be yet to come.
The unique thing about this event is that we're expecting it to persist for at least the next 4 days, with relentless gusty winds each and every night, with dry conditions.
Whenever you come into a period of really hot weather, coupled with extremely strong easterly winds, we're always going to be in for a world of hurt.
Claire Durl for 10 News First.
Mark McGowan has slammed New South Wales Deputy Premier as un-Australian over suggestions returning travellers should be sent to their home states. It comes as crowd numbers at this week's cricket test are slashed as Sydney struggles to contain the latest COVID outbreak.
A decision to limit crowds at the SCG has left thousands of cricket fans bowled over.
What we're trying to do in our public health strategy is making sure that you don't have a super spreading event.
Originally slated to go ahead with a crowd capacity of 50%, this week's test with India now capped at 25%. That's around 10,000 fans per day.
Like the NRL Grand Final, Origin or the Everest or other race days, the Big Bash, we can and we have shown that we can run events in this state in a safe way.
Not according to our Premier, who says it's too risky.
But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have had it. In the circumstances they're in, I don't think it sets the right example.
As Sydney-siders are hit with $200 fines for not wearing masks at shops, cinemas and churches, sparking anti-mask protests like this one at a major shopping centre.
Very disappointing what you see happening across New South Wales.
As tensions escalate between the two states over WA's hard border. The acting New South Wales Premier has also taken a swipe at WA, saying they are doing the heavy lifting when it comes to quarantining returning Australians from overseas. Sydney has taken 105,000 people since March, while Perth has only taken about a fifth of that. And now he wants to recoup some of the costs.
The Treasurer sent those states, I think, a bill for their share of the costs associated.
That's obviously a pretty silly thing for them to try and do. If every state starts doing that, we'll be sending bills all over the place.
As New South Wales threatens to send interstate Aussies packing to free up their hotel quarantine.
Maybe what we should be doing is collecting them at the airport, ask where their final destination is and keep sending them on another connection.
That suggestion is silly, it's counterproductive, it's not acting as an Australian.
With every state looking out for themselves. Natalie Forrest for 10 News First.
A woman accused of breaching hotel quarantine and going on the run for 12 hours has pleaded not guilty. Jenny Du Bois was today granted bail from prison after a magistrate said she was no longer a threat to the community. Jess Brown has more.
Narelda, Jenny Du Bois has spent the last 10 days here at Bandiat Prison after escaping the Pan Pacific Hotel on Boxing Day. The 49-year-old was all smiles as she left the prison on bail a short time ago. She had nothing to say as she got into a waiting taxi. Ms Du Bois, who'd arrived from overseas, posted videos on social media making it clear security guards wouldn't stop her leaving hotel quarantine. She travelled across Perth for 12 hours before being arrested at Rockingham Hospital. Today she pleaded not guilty, with her lawyer indicating Ms Du Bois had a reasonable excuse to ignore the directions given she was seeking medical assistance. The police prosecutor, however, opposed bail, saying the breach could have been astronomical to the state. And Ms Du Bois had openly advocated on social media for people to breach COVID restrictions. But the magistrate said given her quarantine period has now expired, she's no longer a risk to the community. The Premier, though, angered by her actions, but assured hotel quarantine is secure.
I was outraged by her conduct. She was selfish, she was immature, she acted in her own interests, not in the interests of the West Australian community.
Ms Du Bois will have to adhere to strict bail conditions while awaiting her trial. She's due back in court in February. And Narelda police are reminding those arriving from Victoria in particular they must self-isolate for 14 days. It comes after officers served 3 more people with quarantine infringement notices.
Thanks, Jess. An explosive call has revealed Donald Trump urging a Republican governor to find the required votes to overturn the election result. The conversation was leaked just days before the US Congress meets to finalise Joe Biden's appointment as president.
In a desperate bid to cling to power, President Trump attempts to pressure a top election official in Georgia to overturn the result.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes.
The explosive hour-long call between Donald Trump and the Republican Secretary of State is laced with unsubstantiated claims of election fraud.
You should want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have, not even close.
Incoming Vice President Kamala Harris labelling it an abuse of power.
Have you all heard about that recorded conversation? Well, it was, yes, certainly the voice of desperation.
Today, Vice President Mike Pence swore in senators while giving his backing to a plot by a dozen Republicans to object to certifying Joe Biden's win.
We have an obligation to the voters and we have an obligation to the Constitution to ensure that this election was lawful.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to be inaugurated, and no publicity stunt that these guys are pulling are going to change that.
All the focus will now shift to Wednesday as Congress meets to try and finalise the election result. But there's a final stand looming for Donald Trump as he rallies his supporters as he claims to stop the steal. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, Washington.
A house has been destroyed and another seriously damaged after a fire in Trigg overnight. As Bo Pearson reports, both households managed to escape without injury.
Narelda, as you can see, this home on Chrysostom Street has been destroyed by the blaze that started just after 1 this morning. The couple who live here were woken by a smoke alarm and managed to escape. Everything inside the house has been destroyed, cars in the driveway also impacted. The home was recently renovated, but now it has an estimated damage bill of $1 million. The fire spread to the home next door, where a family with 2 young children got out to safety. That property was damaged along the side of the building, the heat so strong it smashed the front windows. Firefighters battling the blaze had the extra challenge of dealing with the strong easterly winds, part of the roof still only just hanging on. Narelda, officers from the Fire Investigation Unit will continue to inspect the scene as they determine just what sparked this blaze.
Hello there, I'm Gillian Bowen with your finance news. The Australian property market is showing its resilience in the face of the pandemic. Home values finished the year 3% higher, with all capital cities bar Melbourne recording annual growth. But it's our regions setting the pace. According to CoreLogic, home values there have risen almost 7%. Economists at one point were predicting a 10% decline as COVID-19 restrictions, a recession and plunging consumer confidence made the property market volatile. CoreLogic says containing the virus and record low interest rates have been key to the rebound. To the ASX 200, it's been a pretty good start to the trading year for the new year. The big banks and miners doing well. Fortescue shares hit a record high. Some travel companies with lockdown pressure were lower, while tech stock Link Administration plunged after a takeover bid was taken off the table. Before we get to the dollar, let's have a look at what's happened to Bitcoin overnight. The digital or virtual currency has soared to a fresh record high. In Aussie dollars, that's more than $44,000. The suggestion is traders and investors are betting Bitcoin is on its way to becoming a mainstream payment method. So how is our dollar performing against the other major currencies? It's buying just over 77 US cents, and that's finance.
Costco shoppers were winners at the fuel pump last year. The brand's membership-based service station named the Metro's cheapest. While petrol prices aren't as low as they were at the height of the pandemic, Fuel Watch says there's still savings to be had.
2020, when Easter road trips were off the cards as Perth's average fuel price hit a 15-year low, the virus leading to a worldwide drop in demand.
Compared to 2019, there was about a 20 cent per litre difference in what consumers paid in 2020. So it was a good year to get a bargain.
And a new entrant became the metro area's cheapest place to fill up. Costco customers say they've saved big despite a $60 annual membership fee.
Yeah, I've paid for mine many times over.
Lots of savings actually, from the fuel, lots of savings.
Any day it's always lower.
It's always pretty much the cheapest, especially for diesel.
which is what this car is.
It's really validation for what we're set out to try and achieve, which is provide the best value we can to our members through, in this case, fuel.
The membership-based service station has topped Fuel Watch's annual list of cheapest retailers, averaging 95.1 cents per litre for unleaded, almost 8 cents less than Gosnell's Liberty, which was the cheapest station in the metro area, open to the general public. In the east, Fast Fuel Forestfield had the lowest average price. North of the river, the winner, Vibe in North Perth, the suburb also home to the metro's most expensive retailer, Westco, with an average of $1.29.
The analysis that we've done shows that you can save around $1,100 to $1,200 a year if you take advantage of shopping for fuel on the cheapest day at the cheapest location.
Which is why it pays to shop around. Cindy Lavrenchik for 10 News First.
Steve Allen is back with a blunt message from Nathan Lyon.
He saves his spin for the cricket pitch, NJ. He says, let's get on with the cricket. Plus, we've got all the action from the A-League, and Daniel Ricciardo takes to the basketball court.
Raw pain and a slow recovery. The residents from Malakuta share their stories 1 year after bushfires swept through their tiny town.
Peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us, a time and place for us. Hold my hand and we're halfway there. Hold my hand and I'll take you there somehow,
We open on an office. There's Trent. He's running. Oh, he goes for a slow-mo knee slide. Cheryl's like, OMG, has he won the lotto? He has. All 7 numbers. Oz Lotto. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah! Yes!
It's hot. Too hot. So do something delicious about it. McCafe iced coffee. Real coffee, real cold. And absolutely perfect for summer mornings. Drive through today.
Join a university where you can study in immersive, innovative learning environments and harness technology to solve real problems. So if you're ready for change, join us.
After COVID hit, my husband was stood down indefinitely, so we set up a Vietnamese pop-up together. We both felt quite stressed about the complete uncertainty of the whole situation. We definitely felt like we had to make some big changes.
It's tough out there, Australia. Every cent counts. Make sure your insurance is about where you're at right now. You could save lots. Yui, you insured. It's insurance for individuals like you.
Here at Amart Furniture, it's the last days of our Boxing Day sale, with up to 50% off a huge range of stylish pieces. You'd better get a move on. Amart Furniture. Sale ends tomorrow.
He's not speeding.
What's that guy doing?
He's not drunk. He's just tired.
Oh my God!
Fatigue is a silent killer on WA roads. Don't trust your tired self. Authorised by the State Government, Perth.
Let's go!
We've already revealed some big names, and there's still more to come.
Your herd is about to grow by one.
Whoa! A new celebrity will be revealed. Find out who, 7:30 tonight on 10.
Welcome back. Nathan Lyon didn't miss with his message to Indians cricketers in quarantine. Suck it up and get on with it. But the threat of the boycott for the Gabba Test remains real from the tourists, forcing Cricket Australia to step in.
Touchdown in Sydney. Both teams now headed for stricter quarantine rules. The very thing that has the visitors threatening a boycott of the Gabba Test.
We've had nothing formal from the BCCI to suggest anything other than they're supportive.
I 100% think we're going there and planning and preparing for the Gabba.
Australia keen to play at their fortress. They haven't lost there in 32 years. Nathan Lyon blunt with his advice for India.
Suck it up and get on with it and get out there and play cricket for our respective countries.
Everyone's very clear on the expectations and what's involved, and I just can't thank both sets of players enough for their cooperation.
If the Brisbane Test does go ahead, it'll be Lyon's 100th in the baggy green, and he's just 6 wickets away from becoming Australia's third bowler to claim 400 wickets.
Everyone keeps talking about the Gabba Test match, but there's a massive Test match in just a couple of days at the SCG.
One that'll be played in front of just a 25% capacity crowd, as the GOAT backed David Warner to play, despite still battling to regain full fitness.
100%. I think David's an X-factor. He's a world-class batter. We all know that. So, yeah, I'm 100% expecting David to go out there.
They've never needed him more. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
After a tough couple of years, former Socceroos regular Tommy Urich looks primed to return to his best. The Adelaide United striker scored his first goal for the Reds in 7 years yesterday on a tough night for Melbourne City.
Cooling off after a red-hot return to life as a Red, former Socceroo Tommy Urich made an immediate impact in Adelaide United's first home game for nearly 300 days.
Dorigo cuts it back and here's Urich! Brilliantly worked!
It's been a rough couple of years, so that one meant a lot, and especially coming back home now, as I said, home fans, first home game, first 3 points, so everything just looked good yesterday.
United's 2-0 win was made easier by a brain snap from Melbourne City skipper Scott Jamieson.
He's off.
He's gone. Second yellow.
And he knows he's on a yellow card, and that is a silly challenge.
A smashing City goal.
Down 3-0 at half-time, Callum Hudson-Odoi's late consolation goal did little to relieve the pressure on Blues boss Frank Lampard. Stuck in 8th, Chelsea would much rather be in Leicester City's position.
Tielemans! More beautiful football from Leicester.
A 2-1 win over Newcastle lifting the Foxes into 3rd. Josh Money for 10 News First.
Toby Price has started his quest for a third Dakar rally in perfect form on the bike. Defending champion Ricky Brabeck got lost on the 277-kilometre leg and fell 18 minutes behind. As he did last year, Price claimed honours in the opening stage and leads by 23 seconds.
You're going to see a lot of chopping and changing in the standings in this race, so just got to stay calm and just let it cruise along.
In the lightweight car category, Cristina Gutierrez became the first female driver to win a stage at the Dakar since 2005. Carlos Sainz began his title defence with a win in the cars. When Daniel Ricciardo is done with F1, maybe there's a future in basketball. The now McLaren superstar mucking around at the Phoenix Suns practice facility. He's money from long range and he can claim our late play of the day. NJ, some people have all the skills.
Thank you very much, Steve. You're pretty good yourself. I'm sure you could have made it. Charlotte has the weather next.
The celebrities have been given a good old-fashioned Aussie welcome.
Oh, Struth.
They've been bitten, hissed at, thrown out, and creepy crawled. We've already revealed some big names. And there's still more to come.
Your herd is about to grow by one.
A new celebrity will be revealed.
We are just getting started. Oh, let's go!
Find out who's going in 7:30 tonight.
AW Nights is back at Adventure World. Ride the park in the dark with food trucks and live music across 3 Saturday nights this January. Tickets at adventureworld.net.au.
The art of the charcuterie board. Mouth-watering salami, irresistible prosciutto, and there it is, a charcuterie board piled high with flavour.
Charcuterie?
Hans.
It's actually Hans.
So I've heard some stories about me.
Tell me your secrets.
You think you're going to get the truth in a town like this?
Go!
Whatever made you think you could change who you are?
It was time to have a black company in Australia.
I'm here.
We open on an office. There's Trent. He's running. Oh, he goes for a slow-mo knee slide. Cheryl's like, OMG, has he won the lotto? He has. All 7 numbers. Oz Lotto. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Yes.
The Fantastic Summer event is on now, and there's something for the whole family. Save on kids' furniture, beds, mattresses, sofas, and heaps more. Find your Fantastic. Shop in store or online today. Don't miss the Fantastic Summer event.
Back to school is easy at the Athlete's Foot with formal shoes from Ascent, Alpha, Rock, Harrison and Clark's, and sports shoes from Asics, Nike, New Balance and Saucony from $80. Back to school at the Athlete's Foot? Now that's fit.
U-Food supports local Aussie growers and is proudly Australian owned. Their chef-inspired ready-made meals are created with the freshest of ingredients and delivered to your door nationwide. Try 7 meals for $55 today.
Professional, affordable and reliable. That's the Rich Tech promise for all your plumbing and electrical needs. Hot water systems, block drains, burst pipes. We're there within the hour. $0 call-out fee. Rich Tech, where service meets quality.
Let's get Rich Tech.
You might be having a baby.
No way.
Ollie, why didn't you tell me? I didn't know. There's 0 consequences for the guy.
Is this funny?
Can I help?
No, you can't.
Once you get used to the idea, you are gonna love her. Excuse me.
What are you...
It's just the press.
The brand new Stan original series, Bump, now streaming only on Stan.
AW Nights is back at Adventure World. Ride the park in the dark with food trucks and live music across 3 Saturday nights this January. Tickets at adventureworld.net.au.
Up next, 0 cases in Sydney overnight. Why authorities say that might not tell the whole story.
It's important that we keep that testing regime up.
As COVID dominates our lives, has climate change become the forgotten crisis? And we've lined up the perfect chat with actor and comedian Eddie Perfect. The Project next.
Good evening. Time for a final check of the weather. And I just want to begin with a quick update with that fire burning at emergency level near Lancelin. Authorities have changed the advice for Oceans Farms Estate, saying residents must leave now via Indian Ocean Drive in either direction. Fire authorities say your life will be in danger if you stay. An evacuation centre is open at Gilderton Country Club, but do please visit the Emergency WA website for more details if you are holidaying in that area. The fire danger is unlikely to ease tomorrow or throughout the week, really, with hot temperatures looking to continue. This trough is maintaining the heat and it's also causing some gusty winds. It's also looking at some rain or storms throughout the Gascoyne, Pilbara and interior tomorrow, maybe pushing up into the Kimberley as well. If we take a look over in the east coast, we can see a lot of rain in far north Queensland. That's thanks to ex-tropical cyclone Imogen that has turned into a low but still causing a lot of widespread rain. But back in WA, very warm again in the southwest of the state. Bunbury getting to 34 degrees, hot in Geraldton too, 38 degrees and really gusty. That's one of the areas where fire danger is elevated tomorrow. 34 in Carnarvon, storms potentially on the way for Port Hedland. and Kununurra 38 degrees at the top. Broome will reach 35. Newman looking at a storm as well, 27 degrees. Not a drop of rain on the radar for Perth though. Very warm, most suburbs hitting 35 degrees. It will be windy in the morning, particularly in the eastern suburbs and the hills. Gusts of up to 80 kilometres an hour expected, 31 and windy at Rottnest. The city itself will also reach 35 degrees, warm overnight to a minimum of 19 degrees, but it will be gusty with easterlies of up to 35 kilometres an hour expected in the city. And the hot temperatures, well, they don't stop there. Wednesday is looking sunny and 37 degrees, and then it continues to climb 38 at the top on Thursday. Well, there might be clouds on the forecast. Friday onwards is also mostly sunny, and Perth is ending the week with a bang, 40 degrees at the top. Saturday warm too with a very hot minimum of 27, so I hope you can cool down at night. Sunday and Monday are looking slightly cooler at this stage. So Narelda, you can see why fire authorities are concerned. A very warm week ahead.
Yeah, the relief can't come soon enough. Thanks very much, Charlotte. And that is 10 News First Perth for this evening. I'm Narelda Jacobs. Thanks for your company. I'll see you the same time tomorrow. You can also join me from 8 a.m. for Studio 10. For now, good night.